And Ronnie's decided to join me for my Christmas note. Now he's off again. But what's prompted this? I know it's late at night, and I know I don't even know if anyone's watching. Ronnie, 1 minute. 1 minute. Ronnie briefly joined us, and now he's off again. Right, I've just watched John Wedger's live. I didn't watch it yesterday because I weren't going to ruin my Christmas day. And also, as well, he talks about trolls and getting on. No, I'm not trolling him. Yeah, it's just that he got me into this mess. Yeah, left me, hung me out to dry. Yeah, well, sort of, but then no. And I'll tell you what, it was that I had to start taking notes, because everything he says, as always, it can't back up. He says that Michael Tarriger give him an apology. I don't know if you remember who Michael Tarriger is. He wrote Meat Rack Boy. Was it Meat? Yeah, it was Meat Rack Boy with John's ex-bird. What was her name? Oh, for fuck's sake, I can't remember it now. Right, but then he went on the turn with John, saying that John was dodgy, John was this, John was that. And John said that before he died, Michael Tarriger apologised to him, saying, "John, I know you're a good guy. I'm sorry." The guy's dead. No one's got any way of knowing that. And you know what? I doubt it very much, because Michael Tarriger was very angry about John. Then he went on to talk about the money from the John Wedger Foundation, and he said that Sam Zen had donated £1,000 to him, and that had got taken by... It was me she donated £1,000 to. John, she left a van. She left like various items. So I don't know where he was going with that, saying that ended up in wills and probate. Then he asked for sponsors. So, you know, you do the maths. But then he starts spilling out that he's working with the government. And he's got a couple of MPs, don't name them, got a couple of MPs on side, and he's got this this circle of people that are working in the shadows. What? Like, and then he's completely changed up his thing of police, because he's saying we work with police. But what did interest me was he said that he was working with an ex-DCI who was at the height of his career, one of the leading detectives in London. Ain't DCI Werrett, is it, John? Because that's who I think you're talking about. DCI Werrett. You're both in the Christian police, yeah? It's just... But then he says he's got MPs backing him. And he's saying that he's done a few interviews with Sean Atwood, who's brilliant, who's just been really there for him. And is this guy for real? And then he's saying that he's going to work with the police. Last time, like, you was anti-police. Now, you're going to work with the police, and you're working with an ex-retired DCI. DCI who? You know, it's just... But the Atwood thing, that... Shut up. But then he talks about Karine Hasselbutt or whatever. Now, he told me and everyone else that she was involved in the Dutroux case, and that she'd done profiling for the Dutroux case. But now that's not the case. Now, she was basically harassing the police in France, or, you know, it's just like you chop and change as and when. It's just ridiculous. And then says that he has no thingy with Jeanette Archer. Well, that's a lie, because Jeanette Archer was an extension of the John Wedger Foundation. Yeah, I know that 100%. I was around at that time. yeah? And Dan Young, yeah, the security guy, when he sent a message to Lou Dickens, he said, I've put $7,000 of my own money into this. What? And then we get on the subject of Wilfred Wong. And he said it was a botched kidnap, an abduction gone wrong. What? Like, number one, right, let's face it, the guy went up there with false plates, had a knife on him, yeah? And if the child's mother was in the fucking car, they wouldn't have needed the knife to get the child away, would they? Yeah? And also, he never filmed it. He never filmed it. So how are you defending this man, John? How are you having the audacity to stand on a dodgy rooftop, yeah, with the rain's making his tea cold. Then he said, it's diluting, and then realised what he was saying and stopped. Yeah, because I'm not going to lie, I'm all over your shit, John, because you're a liar. You are a down and outright fucking liar. And you're, oh shit, sorry, I didn't even realise my TV was on. You're a liar, John. You're a down and outright fucking liar. Yeah? And as for having tea in that fucking cup, that'd be a first, wouldn't it? But I don't know how tea gets diluted by the rain. Yeah? But that's neither here or there. That is neither here or there. But the fact that he's defending Wilfred Wong still, yeah? So's Jeanette Archer. So you got that in common, ain't ya? Yeah? But the thing is like, you cannot defend. So if he'd have filmed it, had his body cam on, you've all got them. Grand penetrating radar you've got. And you even said that you got special permission to go and dig some farm, like, I don't know what it was where you thought bodies were. Well, Fred and Rose West, yeah, in a documentary that I covered not long ago, yeah, they couldn't even get permission to go and dig in this farm where Fred was known to have gone because the people ain't giving permission. So how the fuck did you get permission? And then saying about intelligence services. Yeah, you, John, you're just you're just ridiculous. And as for saying the work that you're doing now, you're not letting anybody know who's who. Like, it's all undercover. It's all, mate. The people you got around you are pensioners. Yeah, Chris Lambriano, who you love to mention so much, ex-gangster. He's fucking and he got a hip replacement. Yeah, and he's turned his life to Jesus Christ. Well, because that's who John said he gave the money to when he done his walk in Rainbow Woods. And then he said, and let me tell you something right here and now. Never, ever have I ever reported anybody for anything, because that's not the way, that's not my way at all. If I had done, I would have done Sharon Gow a long time ago. But that's not my way. Yeah, that is not my way. If I've got something to say, I will say it. Yeah, I don't go phoning up, getting this taken down, that take that. No, that's not a piece of me. Yeah, that's not a piece of me at all. But if I've got something to say, I'm going to say it. And seeing as this is the first time you've shown your face for what, 3-4 months? Yeah, you're just chatting bare shit, John. Bare shit. Because the fact that you've got ground penetrating radar, you've got, like, what? Why have you got ground penetrating radar? Why don't you go to Jeanette's farm then? Yeah, and everything you say, you can't corroborate. You're saying that you've worked with the police, you've worked with the Attorney General. You. And trying to make excuses about the elixir. Yeah, they never accepted your evidence in there, John. Right? So it just winds me up so much, because he'll just say something and everyone will just believe it. From a fucking rooftop where he works. Fuck off. It's just, you know, it's just, and he's just another gatekeeper like that. Sharon Gow as well. It's like, what is wrong with you people? Yeah? John, you're getting my full attention today, mate, because I've just listened to, I think it was about near enough 45 minutes of your dribble. You're not naming the MPs that you say are totally back in your corner. Who's that, Sir Roger Gow? No, joke, people. That was just a joke. But you never know. You know, Tom Watson. Like, you know, it's, and he says this, and then he asks for sponsors. Sponsors for what, John? Sponsors for what? What are you gonna do? Yeah. What are you raising money for? What do you need sponsors for? Another bullshit fucking charity foundation, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. It is just a load of shit. Yeah. And saying about how you've done more interviews with Sean Atwood, like that's anything. It's and Alan Merritt from the Beach Home survived, the Beach Home lot, whatever they are. And he even mentions Bill Maloney, and he says Bill's had enough, he's tired. No. Bill's run his course, mate. Brian's seen to that. Yeah. And the bottom line is, now you've shown your face. You're going to get, it's not me trolling you, John. I'm not trolling you. Yeah. Trolling is when you put comment. I'm not doing that. I'm doing my own podcast and I'm saying what I want. Yeah. And the bottom line is I've got a right to. Yeah. I've got a fucking right to. Yeah. And also you mentioned Tommy Robinson. Now, last time I checked, Lou Dickens was best mates with that Mickey Bird, who was Tommy Robinson's PA. So, you're saying that Tommy Robinson personally contacted you to thank you. What? Something ain't right there. Like, and either Lou Dickens was lying, yeah, going on Sharon Gowles and shit, and it sounds to me like you've been back in contact with her because her best mate Mickey was Tommy Robinson's PA. So how did Tommy Robinson contact you to thank you when down to you, John, Lou was getting threatened by Dan Young? Yeah, you called her a thief on the last podcast you done. Yeah, so what's going on there? I'll tell you what's going on. They're all in the same fucking pot. Yeah, because that that whatever her name, Tricky Mickey, that was her name, Tricky Mickey. Oh my God, the biggest mouth on her like thing. But then it was Brian who said, she's Tommy Robinson's PA, and I was like, no, didn't know that at the time. So yeah, she's definitely Tommy Robinson's PA, and according to John Wedger, Tommy Robinson personally contacted him to thank him. Oh right, so that beef got squashed then. It's because as far as I was concerned, Lou Dickens, she was completely on the opposite side to John, but Brian said to me she's part of it, and she is, because tonight proved that. Because your best friend Lou, who was threatening to come and kick my door in because I was pissed that she'd gone on Sharon Gowles. Yeah. Oh, you have no idea. Yeah. So that's her girl, supposedly. Yeah. She jumps in on Lou's beefs and everything like that. She started running up her mouth to me. I was like, leave that. Drop it out. Like, I couldn't give a shit whether you're Tommy Robinson's bird, PA, whatever the fuck you are. I don't care. Yeah? And I had a right to be angry. I had a right to be angry because the last time I looked, me and Lou was okay. Next thing, boom, Sharon Gowles. And it's like, whoa. Twice. So, what does that show you? All I know is it shows me they are all in the same fucking... They're all in the same... They're all together. Because someone asked him about Jeanette Archer. And he said he weren't going there. Because you're lying. You are lying. You are blatantly lying, John. Yeah, and the reason why you don't want to speak about it is in case you slip up over something. Yeah, so yeah, you had the sense not to mention me though, which that's the best way to go, really is, because that would have given me something else to grab onto, and I would have been pissed. So no, but I couldn't believe the dribble I was listening to, and I couldn't believe the dribble that people are buying it. People are actually buying that man's shit. And, you know, asking for, and I'm really interested to know who this ex-DCI, one of the top ones in London, in the police force, is now on your side. When you was bleating for years about the police, you had no one stuck by you, no one. And now you're saying, oh, well, we're working with DI and we're working with the police because we've never been against the police. What? An Attorney General as well. Where are you going with the Attorney General? Is that, you know, and I believe like that them contacts were Wong's, Wilfred Wong's. He's obviously ducked out of the country at the moment. So, you know, and give his contacts to John. Because Sir Roger Gow was Wilfred Wong's sponsor. Even though Sharon Gow tried to make it all about her, no, she was just a side thing. Roger Gow was Wilfred Wong's sponsor. And that is on the parliamentary records, yeah? That's on the records of it. And it said, Roger Gow, sponsor Wilfred Wong. Now, I don't know what Wilfred Wong needed sponsoring for, yeah? But he was on the Jubilee campaign. And he flew to every country, he flew around the country, he flew around the world free of charge because it's a non-profit, yeah? So you want me to believe that a man like that with them connections is in jail? No. And how, I do not know how people are still believing this was a rescue. It even on a basic level, you do that to a child who's already been satanically ritually abused, it's going to traumatise him even more. And furthermore, if the mother was in the car, which John said, tried to imply but didn't actually say it, if the mother was in the car, why would they then have needed a knife to get the child? It doesn't make sense. And the mother wasn't in the car. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't even know if it's a true story because it's just, and that's another thing as well, where John's concerned, the Baby P story. Now, I don't know if Baby P was real. I do not know if the Baby P thing happened and then they inserted John, because it was only in the Express. And there was a black and white checkerboard as well behind him. So, you know, but he was meant to have been the interviewer, I think it was, for that. You know, and the person who run that story in the Express was James Fielding. And James Fielding is the guy that you can hear sitting there on Brian's Andrew Ash interview. James Fielding was there at the interview, but he stayed out of camera. So I think it's safe to say that James Fielding's definitely dodgy. And then with James Fielding's involvement on the Baby P story, you know, because I'm not going to go as far to say the Baby P story weren't real, but I believe that was real, and I believe that poor little boy suffered horrendous injuries. But they just inserted John in just to try and like boost his credibility, or to, you know, it's like, oh, it's in the Express, it must be true. Well, we now know that is not the case at all. If it's in the Express, it's normally, well, I don't take anything I read in the paper no more, because I see what they was like when Brian got into it, and they was telling lies then, so they're 100% they're lying. The mass media, it's just a joke, an absolute complete joke. But what is more of a joke is people that are looking for truth, people who are looking for alternative opinion. You know, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? John Wedger, Jeanette Archer, oh great, you know, Sean Atwood, like that. And furthermore, who give that? Like, how did that guy go from being in prison to talking in our schools. And John mentioned the intelligence services twice tonight. Yeah, and I believe that that's his God complex. You know, like he loves to drop old school gangsters because he thinks that that's going to get him credibility. Listen, love, they've all fucking got hip replacements and knee replacements and that. They're no good to nobody. And if you're right and Chris Lambrianou has turned over a leaf and he's given his life to Christ, good luck to him, you know. But no, how can you give your life to Christ? And also, as well, I noticed you Jim screeched around when you got baptised, John, by Brian Knox and Wilfred Wong. And you mentioned Brian Knox as well. I met Brian. And Brian is... How can I put it? Brian, when I met him, was committed to telling you about Jesus Christ and telling you that Jesus, because he tried it with me and he said and Jesus said, I said, how do you know Jesus said that? And he went, oh, it's scripture. And then I found out that he used to go raving. And I'm saying to him, what, you're talking to me about Jesus Christ? What, can't we talk about like raving? And you know, it's yeah. But Brian was very committed to the cause. Had an horrendous story, and I totally believe his story. And John mentioned Darren Jeffries tonight. Darren is somebody who I actually totally believe his story. He's damaged, and but he's such a sweet guy. And it just bugs me because these people are looking for something in John, and you're not going to get it. You know, like, people go to John when they've been abused and that. I was the same for my friend. I'm saying to my friend, look, he used to work in Soho, he knows us. And, you know, but it's sad. It's sad because he's an alcoholic, number one. And he's not a good person. He's not a good person. And he reckons that he's not going to be doing no more pot. He's only updating people on stuff. Updating on what, John? On how many children you've saved? How much money you've raised? What are you updating us on? Like, and I actually think you've got some nerve, mate. Really got some nerve by popping back up again and thinking that it's all going to go away. It's all you know, I'm never going to go away. Brian definitely is never going to go away. And just because we haven't got to you so much, yeah, you got to remember, John, like you ain't in the forefront of our mind, in my mind anyway. But now you are, because you've popped back up again, spat in your same old shit, yeah. And saying about your team, what team? What team of attorney generals and CPS prosecutors and all the people that you stood, you was against, and now all of a sudden they're all that. Yeah, and you know, the two MPs and the retired DCI. Why are we not allowed to know their names then? If they're backing you, they're backing your corner. Why not say? Yeah, because all you done was talk a load of shit about where the money went with the John Wedger Foundation, and then you got it back and you give it to Chris Lambrianou. Great. I could think of better causes than you know, knife crime. Not gonna lie. Yeah, you know, you should have. But it's like you're trying to threaten people. Like the person who dropped us in there. Like, what? Come on, man. Seriously. And I just think it's so bad that you've got people out there that idolise you. You've got people out there that still idolise you. Yeah? And you're doing the same said fucking thing. What, you broke? Yeah? You need sponsors? Yeah, to sponsor your team with grand penetrating radar and, oh my God, you know, stuff that no one would be able to have access to. Unless, not if you're a whistleblowing cop, no. that much is thing. But you know, it's like you're asking for sponsors. Like, that's, you know, I don't know that I don't even know what a sponsor is really. Yeah, but I know that they hand over money, or they've got something to bring to the table, yeah? And that's what you're asking for, sponsors. Trying to make people think that you've got this big, what was it, SUR or something like that you was calling yourselves, saying it's going to remain that for now, yeah? And, just bullshit, because Michael Tarriger never apologised to you. Yeah, Michael Tarriger was so pissed off with you. And what was that? But I still can't remember her name. Was it Anna Richardson? I don't know. But even that was all theatre. And in the Soho podcast, I did say, because John brought up Michael Tarriger, and I said, well, in my experience, I don't know how it was in the 60s, yeah, the meat rack. But the meat rack wasn't like a rack with all boys. It was like, we used to like sit in the wimpy, and I used to, we all used to sit together, and there was like picking up boys there, and it was called the meat rack. But it wasn't like boys in windows like Michael Tarriger said that it was. But that was in the 60s. I was there in the 80s. So, things could have... Because all we used to do is sit upstairs in the wimpy, drink... when you'd buy a cup of tea between 5 of you, and you make it last. And they all knew their punters. Yeah? The men used to come up. Look, Joey and that used to get up, go off. And, that is what the meat rack was to me. That's what I knew it as. But like I said, in the 60s, it might have been different. The wimpy might not have been there, I don't know. But it was never like what Michael Tarriger, when he said what it was like. He said that they was in windows, and they was paraded in windows like Amsterdam. I mean, it really may have been like that. But it wasn't in my time. So I can't comment on that. But, he did get paid out by Lambeth Council, so he definitely was a victim. So I'm not saying that he wasn't telling the truth at all. I'm just saying it was a different experience for me. But then there's a 20-year gap. So, but I remember Michael Tarriger was very angry about John Wedger. God, rest in peace, Michael. No offence, mate. No offence at all. I'm just saying that I don't believe that you apologised to John Wedger before you died, which is what he said, basically. And what else was there? Because I started writing down, because I'm thinking, hang on a minute. And then he mentions like Sabine McNeill and Cole Beach as what happens to people when they try to come forward, and so reinforcing that bullshit, because Cole Beach ain't in jail and Sabine McNeill is not in jail, and there is nothing that's going to convince me otherwise. Because how does anybody know? Does anybody know Cole Beach? No. Does anybody know Sabine McNeill? No. So how would anybody know if they're in jail? Don't make sense to me, man. It really does not make sense to me. And the jail system's a very closed system, like things go around jails like, and it's, I mean, I ain't been away. Last time I went away to Bronzefield. But Holloway, like they've shut Holloway down now. That's flats. Bloody hell, it's mad. But it's now it's all that prisons for profit, and it's they're shutting down all the proper prisons, and they're opening the prisons for profit, which is another podcast in itself because it's disgusting. On the prisoners, not so much, because I don't know if anybody knows, but in Thameside Prison, which is next to Belmarsh, but Thameside is a private prison. It's run by security officers, not screws. So a security officer has 6 weeks training, and then you can be a security officer in the jail. And the dangers of having security officers is a lot of them bullied at school. It's a job that you go into if you got bullied at school and then you want to take it out on everyone who's in jail. You've got that element. You've got the corrupt element, because most of them in Thameside, I think 70% of the staff are women, and they have to wear a black skirt that comes above their knee, and they wear a white shirt, and they are called by their first names. They're not called Miss, they're not called Gov, yeah, which is what normal standard prison thing. No, you call them by their first names. And 70% of them are women. And the prisoners all have their own cells with ensuite. Ensuite. Now, in jail, normally it's not that easy to get a bath or a shower. They're ensuite. And also, they have a telephone in their cell that they can top up 24 hours a day. And do you know what's on the thing? Babe Station. That is Thameside Prison. Yeah, and for me, I just, you know, I mean, for the prisoners, I suppose who don't know no different, but a lot of the prisoners that have been in normal prison can't do their bird like that. You know, there has to be some kind of line. There has to be a divide between you and the staff. There has to be for prison to work. So I do believe that they're making the prison system so not scary, or so not very, you know, it's but showing prisoners Babe Station, right, and 70% of the female, the staff are female, you do the maths, and most of them are cokeheads as well. But yeah, that's just another thing. But anyway, I've been talking for 31 minutes, and I just wanted to get that out of the way, really, because I was just so pissed off it's just like do you think people are actually... Well, I do believe they are idiots because they're watching him and it's God bless you, John, God bless you, John. You know, and he's still backing Wilfred Wong because he has to, doesn't he? He has to. You know, it was a failed abduction. Well, how many of them have been successful then? That's a bit of a worry, isn't it? Was this the abduction team that went on the mission? And he was the youngest in the car at 55, I think it was. What? You know, it's but anyway, that's my rant about John. And